What's your "they held on just long enough" story that still destroys you? My buddy Tom's dad was the kind of father who made the rest of us realize how much our own parents were phoning it in. After Tom's mom ran off with some guy she met online, his dad worked the auto plant from 4 in the morning until noon, delivered pizzas until 8, and cleaned offices until midnight. Never complained once. When Tom played football, basketball, and baseball, his dad made every single game even if it meant losing pay or catching hell from a boss. The man taught Tom to drive in the factory parking lot at 2 in the morning because that was the only free time between shifts. When Tom told his dad he wanted to join the Marines, his dad drove him to the recruitment office and sat there for 3 hours asking the recruiter every possible question about keeping his boy safe. During basic training, Tom got a letter every week from a man who could barely write from working his hands raw for 20 years. When Tom deployed to Afghanistan, his dad learned how to use a computer just for their Sunday video calls at 7 in the morning sharp. Tom said his dad would sit there in his work uniform asking about the food and weather like Tom was at summer camp instead of dodging mortars in Kandahar. 15 months of deployment, and his dad never missed a single Sunday call, not once. Finally, Tom's unit got orders to come home, and everybody was losing their minds with excitement. Tom called his dad from the base in Germany during their layover, and I remember him telling me later that his dad kept saying, "I'm so proud of you, son. So proud," over and over, which was weird because his dad wasn't usually emotional like that. The flight from Germany to Dallas took forever, and Tom couldn't sleep because all he could think about was seeing his dad standing there in that Marine's cap he bought the day Tom enlisted. When they landed and started walking through the terminal, Tom saw all the families pressed against the barriers with signs and balloons and American flags. Tom kept scanning the crowd for that Marine's cap, for those oil-stained work boots, for that smile that got him through every brutal day overseas. His aunt was there with his cousins and some neighbors, but the one person who mattered wasn't there. Tom thought maybe his dad got held up at work or his truck broke down, but then his aunt grabbed him and just started sobbing. She kept trying to talk, but couldn't get the words out, and Tom knew something was wrong. "Where's my dad?" he kept asking, and nobody would answer him at first. That's when his cousin finally told him the truth that everybody had been hiding for 8 months. Tom's dad had been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer the week after Tom deployed, and he made everyone swear on their lives not to tell Tom. His dad went to chemotherapy at 5 in the morning before his factory shift, threw up in the bathroom between operating machinery, then went straight to his second job like nothing was wrong. His co-workers found him passed out in the break room twice, but he begged them not to call an ambulance because he couldn't afford to miss work. When the cancer spread to his liver, the doctors wanted to hospitalize him, but he refused because Tom would notice if the video calls stopped. He lost 60 pounds, but always wore 3 layers of shirts on their calls, so Tom wouldn't see how skeletal he'd become. His dad positioned the camera high and kept the room dark, said the light bulb needed replacing, but never fixed it, so Tom couldn't see his hollow cheeks. His dad spent Tom's entire deployment dying alone in that empty house, cleaning up his own blood, driving himself to radiation, injecting himself with pain medication in the factory parking lot just to make it through another shift. 3 weeks before Tom's deployment ended, the oncologist told his dad he had maybe 2 months left if he was lucky, and his dad's only response was, "That's enough time to see my boy come home." He made the doctor adjust his pain medication schedule so he'd be lucid for Tom's return flight, even though it meant spending the previous nights in agony. The neighbors heard him screaming some nights, but he wouldn't let anyone help because they might accidentally tell Tom. That morning when Tom was flying home, his dad tried to get dressed for the airport but collapsed in the hallway trying to put on that Marine's cap. The paramedics wanted to take him to the hospital, but his dad told them, "My son is flying home from Afghanistan today, and I will not die in a hospital bed while he's looking for me at that airport." So instead of being at the airport, his dad was lying in his bedroom, holding that same beat-up watch he'd given Tom before deployment, waiting to see if his boy brought it back in one piece like he promised. Tom didn't even stop for his bags, and just ran out of that airport still in his fatigues. When he burst through the bedroom door, his dad smiled and whispered, "You still got that watch?" Tom showed him his wrist, and his dad said, "Good man," and closed his eyes. He died 6 hours later, finally letting go once he knew Tom made it home safe.